Are we live? Can you see and hear us?
We are live. Hopefully, let us know if we're coming through. This is only our third live stream like this, so still pretty new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we still have a channel, so that is great news. And we only have one strike now. One got retrieved, so that is excellent. Yeah.
Praise the Lord, right? So we're still here, rocking and rolling, joining with all of you in harmony and peace. And we do have the Adiyogi song going.
Yeah, in the background, but I don't know if you can hear it.
As requested by Aman.
We love the song, we really do. And it also calms me a bit down because I have to switch it off now. Because I'm a bit more nervous today than last time. Talking about God is no big deal because I know Roger talks most of the time. But talking about our relationship, that is something different.
Relationships is a little bit more tricky than God, if you would believe it, right? So,
totally.
Yeah, there's some people that say that even relationships is a bit of a fallacy, right? When you get into the higher states of enlightenment and pure consciousness and awareness, it's like, what is there to be in a relationship with? So, of course, we're still delusional sentient beings, and we've embarked on this journey together to be in a spiritual relationship. So before we start, let's just define what that means, right? So if you're following our channel, you know that we're spiritual seekers and we're diving into Hinduism in particular right now. Our main background is, of course, Buddhism, right? And that's, it's all about emptiness in the mind and transcending the lower states, right? So basically, spirituality is all about consciousness. It's all about awareness. It's all about the mind. So that being said, there's still delusions that arise, especially in relationships, right? People get triggered all the times, right? People aren't meeting your expectations. So what do you do and how do you cope with that? So recently in our relationships, thanks to this channel and you guys and our wonderful community, we're able to stay more focused on the spiritual journey and kind of reignite and reinvigorate what it means to be spiritual in a relationship. And fundamentally, it's all about alignment, right? If you want to be in a spiritual relationship, you have to, have a higher goal, a higher mission, a higher purpose. You have to understand the truth, that you exist, beyond just the mental thoughts and the psychological mind and the ego. So it's really about, choosing to use the relationship, as the focal point of practice, right? Because if it wasn't for me and Sabina being in this relationship, then a lot of these triggers and these lower mental states, they wouldn't have a chance to arise and come up, right? For us to look at and work with and surrender, right? Yeah. So, anything to touch on that?
No, I would like to start shouting out a few people first, and then we keep going with that topic. So, who is here? My mom, of course, one of my daddies, of course, and my sister, Seek with Sika, nice to see you, and Aman, the sweet Aman, he's very kind. Our world yogi, Pratik B.
Pratik B, welcome.
Yeah. And we have someone from Poland. I think this is the first time that we greeted from Poland. Yeah, Himanshu.
Nice.
Yeah. Love you too, Kartiani. Starpoint. Hello. And Simone. Simon is here from Italy, living close to Pisa. Yeah. I just learned how to pronounce his name. Who else? So excited. Shocksite is excited. Yeah, we're excited too. I'm a bit nervous. I can feel it. I'm not like as relaxed as last time, but I'll get there. So we are doing well. We're doing actually very, very well.
Very well. We're doing good. We're getting ready for Mahashivratri. And this was just a great, great blessing for us, right? Because we got back into spiritual practices and actually doing them together. So lately we've been doing our own thing spiritually. I would be, in my own corner. So we have 2 altars set up in our apartment now, and Sabina's doing her thing over in the living room, and I'm in the other room, practicing. So we're still practicing, but now with Mahashivratri, we're doing so together, right?
Yeah.
So the sadhana practices, recommended by Satguru, 2 weeks leading up to Mahashivratri, we're doing that together, and it's just very, very exciting, and potent. We feel it. I feel it already, right? It's like, because conceptually you understand that you have, a higher self, but what is that higher self? Like, it is you, right? But it's kind of beyond the delusional negative states, right? So, and also Sabina with one of her other teachers was really recommending that we tap into the highest version of ourselves, and just doing so has really, benefited greatly in our relationship, right? So, kind of visualizing, who is the man that I want to be and express, and, be present in the relationship, and kind of overlooking the delusions, which is a real big key in spiritual relationships, is that we have to see that, anything that somebody's doing that is, wrong or evil or negative, is really, not the truth. It's empty. It's just it's just a projection in a negative state of consciousness. And as you know, we're all about raising our level of consciousness, and the more and more people that do that, then the consciousness of the whole world can be raised, right? So it's very exciting. We are stoked for Mahashivratri, and we're wondering, is any of you guys going to participate, either live or in person? Let us know. I think we're really looking forward to it. So we did a couple, reaction videos, one of Satguru dancing, and then the other one of just the highlights of, I think, the 2020 Mahashivratri.
I don't remember.
And anyways, blown away, because we had never seen anything like that before. Just a number of people just dancing and partying, and then practices, and and the surrender and the devotion. Yeah, it was incredible. So we are very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, as a couple, and it's really nice that it really brings us together again regarding practice, because he was doing his thing, I was doing my thing, and which was okay, but it is more powerful if we are like together and chanting the mantras together. The chants. Yeah, not mantras. Yeah, the chants.
Yeah, so we were doing them with Satguru at the beginning, and we just learned them enough that now we're doing them on our own without the guidance. So yeah, it's great.
We have a number one fan. So Matthias Heblich.
Matthias.
Yeah, Matthias, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
He, by the way, if you don't know it, is my bestest friend. And he's the one I started my spiritual journey with over 10 years ago. So he's very dear to my heart. Yeah.
And he's one of our world yogis. Exactly. So thank you so much always for your support, Matthias. We love you, and we're so happy to have you in our lives on this journey. And I'm so grateful that Sabina always has somebody else to talk to about spirituality other than me, right? So Matthias is the go-to guy. And also with Matthias is that he's joining us, and he's going to participate in these sadhanas as well, and then Mahashivratri. So we're stoked to have you with us.
And he's joining from Germany.
Yeah. So fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. And let's shout out Aditya. We hear you, we see you.
Aditya. Welcome. Yeah.
We are a cute couple. Thank you so much, Star Point. We were not always cute as a couple.
Yeah, no, should we talk about some of the ups and downs of the spiritual journey?
Start at the beginning, hey?
Yeah,
maybe people are interested.
So we met in the Buddhist monastery in Nepal. It was 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
Basically 6 years ago, exactly, in January. So we ended up in a 3-month meditation retreat together. Purification retreat. And then that's when we set our intentions. And then towards the end of the retreat, when we were allowed to talk again, so the middle month of the retreat was totally silence, and we all did it, and it was really good. But then the last month we were allowed to talk again, just within our group. There was 11 of us in the group. And then, so Sabine and I started, talking about plans for the future. And we both had the same plan of going to Laudo in the Himalayas to do a 3-month meditation retreat in the mountains, and meditate in a cave every day, Lama Zopa Rinpoche's cave. So because we had that same goal and that same mission, and also at the same time, we didn't want to, be bogged down by new relationships coming up. So actually the foundation of our relationship, because we were going to have to go back into the real world and work for a year. So we were going to go work for a year and make up a bunch of money and save a ton of money, which we did. And then we were able to travel for 2 years after that. But we didn't want to, totally be back into, the world of needing a relationship and this and that. So we agreed initially to just, pretend. We were like, okay, well, let's just say we're in a relationship. Let's say we're a boyfriend or girlfriend. And it was very interesting. So we laid that foundation, and then and then it evolved from there, that eventually we were not a relationship. And then we ended it completely, but we still held to our intention of going to the mountains together, right? And then, which was great, because then it wasn't even called, boyfriend and girlfriend. We were just going into the mountains as spiritual seekers together. So the real big thing that kept us together was the intention, the intention of spiritual seekers on the path. So then we did 3-month meditation retreat in the Himalayas.
It sounds so fancy, but it was really difficult.
It was really rough.
But anyways, going back a little bit again, I was in many relationships before, but I was not a fan of them, especially once I entered the spiritual path. I thought they're really a distraction or as an escape to not feel so much pain, because relationships, they were always difficult. Maybe not the guys I was with, but I don't know. There's a lot of control and jealousy coming up when I am in an intimate relationship. So when I heard then, of the monastic life and becoming a nun, and I thought, well, that's perfect. And I felt like really holy that I wanted to become that. And but then meeting Roger, I felt an instant connection. Like, not the first time, we met a few times, but once we started talking, and there was this connection. And then eventually the knowing that, whoa, we're going to be on the path together for a long time. But I was still wanting to become a nun for a very long time, for the first 3 years. And Roger was okay with that. Like, he, whatever supports your path. That was really interesting. So Roger, from the very beginning, has always, always, always been supportive of whatever I wanted to do. And if people know me, I always want different things, and I change my minds about things. And it's very... I used to be not very stable. So having someone stable in my life was of great help.
Yeah, that was an interesting dynamic, because Sabine was very much control, and jealous about stuff, like, and wanting to monitor my behavior and make sure that I was doing things that she approved of, which was very difficult. So I had to adjust to that, and I had to modify my behavior, to suit her temperament. Whereas from my point of view, I was like, hey, you're allowed to do whatever you want. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm very not jealous. And knowing that, people have their own journey and their own path, and whatever happens to them, down the road, because of their mind being excited or interested in whatever, it's the manifestation of a potentiality, right? So I'm very much like, okay, everybody's free to do what they want to do. Even for this channel, I'm like, nobody wants to force anybody to be spiritual. That's a big problem, perhaps in religion, right? Trying to force people to be something that they're not, right? And converting people, and we all know the story. Spirituality is different. It's all about the mind, right? Seeing everything as a divine play, right? The play of emptiness, Leela, right? Everything is a manifestation of potentiality and emptiness. We don't exist inherently from our own side, under our own power. There's something greater than ourselves. It's an infinite field of consciousness, and that's, the eye of the eye, right? That's the consciousness beyond our sense perceptions, right? So spirituality is about, getting into that and then seeing that, the world from a certain point of view is totally perfect, just the way that it is. Everything manifesting is the manifestation of whatever level of consciousness humans are at. So it's the perfect expression of, even negativity and evil and hate. It's perfect. It's the perfect expression of hate. So in a sense, everything is divine, right? So if you can understand that, that helps with a lot of things.
Yeah. Hello, Oma and Opa are here.
Opa,
thank you.
welcome.
Simon, our world yogi, has a question. Is meditating in Nepal different from meditating at home? How did it change you? And so we can continue with our 3-month Himalaya story. It sounds really fancy and everything, but at that time I wasn't very well. Literally, I was not doing well. I was back in a relationship, and relationship always trigger immense trauma, immense anxiety and panic. And I was literally at that time, I would have probably be better off in the psychiatry than in a retreat hut, to be honest. Like, I was not doing well mentally, but I felt like I have to do this. I want to do this. It was like my absolute priority because I believed in it so much. And yet being with Roger, when I would have done it on my own, it would have probably been much easier because I did retreats on my own, which were really beautiful. But with Roger on my side, there is the constant checking what is he doing, like the constant wanting to control, the constant checking up. And that was driving me crazy. And even the walk up to the Laudo
monastery.
We were not in a good space as a couple. We were not like, we didn't like each other very much.
It was the first time. Well, it was India before that. We were in India for a month and a half prior to going to Kathmandu and then getting ready. And it was just full of obstacles. It's like you wouldn't believe the number of difficult situations and obstacles, even to get into the Himalayas.
Yeah.
We waited in the airport for like 10 days before we finally got a flight. And then just because of the weather, right? It was monsoon season.
And we were in the plane 2 times and it turned around. And me flying is the worst. I always cry. I take tablets because I'm so nervous. And then we flew there in a 12-person plane. It was tiny. And then returned twice. And so over days and days, it was tough.
So that was, flying to Lukla and then the hike into the mountains. And it was the first time, starting with India, the first time that we were together constantly for so long. And I honestly had no idea that Sabina was, was that way.
Was so crazy.
Like, like controlling and jealous and all of that. So that being said, I was like, okay, well, what better person, to be with, right? In the sense that really, really lots of practice for me.
Precious.
Yeah, and even, but in the retreat, in the mountains, so to answer the question about how was it like meditating there, I thought it was incredible. And then now I know why. So reading Sri M's book, and then when he's meeting Babaji, and then their tours in the mountains, in the Himalayas, and how going to these places and meditating. And I see it, how just being in a different altitude or maybe a different place where there's less people and less bodies, like it's more calm. And I felt it in my mind that there's just less, less thoughts naturally because there's less energy coming from the lower levels of consciousness. Even being up at a higher altitude might play something to it, but I found it super easy to drop into meditation, and the meditations were, incredible. So I was practicing shamatha back then, which is basically just, attention and concentration was my main practice for that retreat. And of course, doing other, preparatory practices, and a little bit of dzogchen is just awareness. So that was the first retreat, was just to hammer down, on concentration, able to pick an object, whatever it is, the breath or a candle, and just sit with it for hours. So that was great. And then the next retreat in Namo Buddha then I jumped into Dzogchen, which is just awareness of awareness. So meditations were great. But
Yeah.
Sabina's, you can tell, it was a little bit more difficult for her. So part of my retreat, like my whole intention of going into the mountains, was like enlightenment. I'm going to meditate, and by the end of this retreat, 3 months, I'm going to be enlightened. And then I have Sabina because, you know, she's a carer, right? So she's going to take care of me in my enlightened state, you know, like Sri Ramakrishna. Whereas a lot of people say that Ramakrishna, if it wasn't for his wife, you know, feeding him, he wouldn't have even eaten, and he would have passed away sooner than he did. So I was like, oh, Sabina's going to take care of me. But no, that didn't happen because Sabina was having so much time. Well, not only that, that's not the only reason I'm not enlightened. But I had to like jump out of my retreat. Like we were practicing silence, and I had to let go of that because Sabina was having such a difficult time that she needed me.
Yeah. Right? So in the end, he took care of me, hardly speaking, but just being there because, yeah, well, I did not go into the retreat well prepared. I was already, you know, my mind was just so in pain. And then the first month was just agony, to be honest. I just wanted it to be over. I couldn't meditate. My mind was racing. It was a monkey mind, wild ocean, whatever you can imagine. It was just wild. It did not want to settle. Yeah. The second month was a little bit better. And then the third month, I felt so good. There was like a shift, and then I was like happy. I could be with myself. I like that. So really some purification happening. But yeah, it was not a pleasant experience, unfortunately, even though we were in this really blessed place. And I actually had a dream when I arrived, and Lama Zopa welcomed me back in my dream. And so, yeah, but yeah, anyways, I still believe that it was beneficial for purification, but it was not a pleasant experience for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, just the intention and the desire, and then doing it, going into the mountains to meditate. And we meditated in a cave, Lama Zopa Rinpoche's cave. We took turns.
Yeah.
I had the evening shift, and she had the morning shift.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on.
Yeah, we got.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's my daddy, Klaus.
Klaus.
And Klaus visited us actually in Nepal, and he was in Nepal before. Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah, he's been trekking all over, and he's a big part of Sabina's journey into Buddhism.
Actually, yes.
He had the book.
Exactly. Yeah. He's actually the one that. When causes and conditions came together, and because my mom remarried, and then he had all these Buddhist books and tankas and statues and singing bowls and everything from Nepal. And so when I saw these things and then started reading books, and it was just wow, like an instant connection, like a homecoming. So
we
big
love
part of my life.
We love Klaus. He's a huge bodybuilder guy too, right? It's just awesome. So we love you, Klaus. Thank you so much for your support. And then also got to know Klaus pretty good because we traveled to Italy. We did a a tour. We went camping
pilgrimage
with Klaus and Sabine's mom Ute, and then they took us for a 3-week trip in a camper together. So because my big dream was to also do pilgrimage into Rome. I wanted to see the St. Peter's Basilica. So we did a lot of church hopping and stuff, and so grateful.
JPB, I love you too. And we would return to Nepal and India, definitely. It's on our list. Absolutely. Do you tease me, Roger? Aman asks.
Constantly, all the time. I love teasing Sabine. It's one of the small joys of my life.
Literally. Roger is a really funny guy, and I love his jokes, and his teasing is really creative and fun. But sometimes it's a bit much, to be honest.
Hey, is what it is. I love teasing Sabina. She's just her accent and her voice, and talking to her, and she doesn't understand English perfectly, and then I could say words, and she's gullible. Sometimes I'll just make up a word and then tell her,
because I'm very naive sometimes and just believe things.
She's
very
like,
quickly.
Oh, really? And I'm like, but super fun.
Another world yogi joined. Hello.
World yogi RKB, hello. Thank you so much for joining us. I love RKB's comments. He's always putting out good like information, and like I'm learning a lot from your comments, RKB. So thanks so much. Keep them coming.
Aman is funny. I'm the perfect wife for you. Yeah, I'm the perfect purifier for Roger's mind. So yeah, we get so many comments. People love me and think I'm so cute and everything. Which yes, one part, like yes, totally. But yeah, of course, we are not perfect yet and enlightened yet. So we still have our delusions. And lately, I'm yeah, the way I am now is better than ever in my life. But it took a lot of time and patience and persistence to get here. And that Roger is still with me is actually an absolute miracle. And I always used to say that if I wouldn't be with myself, if I would be with someone who is like me, I would be gone already. So eventually then after 3 years, I think, after 3 years, Roger said
after our travels,
when
I came back to Canada and she was in Germany, we had to split up.
Then he said that I shall make a decision if I want to keep this relationship, but then I would need to really do something and get help, or if we shall split up. And so for a few moments I thought, oh, breaking up would be such a relief. It would be so nice because I would be happy again, because I was not happy, because I was in a constant state of anxiety for years, literally, like not just a little bit. My body was just vibrating with anxiety and always controlling Roger. And what is he doing next? And what is he saying? And I don't like it. And I don't like it. And Roger he couldn't help me. He tried all kinds of stuff to help me. And then, he said, you want this relationship or not? You decide. And just having that freedom to decide. And he just like, he's like, I see you suffer, Sabine. Do you want to continue like that and get help or finish this? I thought it was amazing. And it empowered me right away. And then all of a sudden, everything just became clear. And I was seeking therapy. I did therapy because I realized all my teachings until that point that I heard from Buddhism did not help me in any way when it came to relationships and anxiety and jealousy and control. So I had these amazing spiritual experiences when I came to Buddhism. And I was a completely different person, but not in relationships. As soon as I had an intimate relationship, then I was the same person as if I would have never heard of spirituality before, which was a real shock. So actually, for a few months, I had aversion to even listening to Buddhist teachings because I was so disappointed that Buddhist teachings did not help me with my relationship. Interesting, hey? So then I decided to do therapy. I didn't believe in therapy, but it was my only choice. It's like, I can't deal with this on my own anymore after years of horrible agony. Buddhism doesn't help. And another religion I didn't know. If Buddhism doesn't help, any other religion will not help. So then I started therapy and I did trauma therapy, EMDR. It was phenomenal. And I was getting better and better with each session. It was a miracle. I really set the intention. I want to stay with Roger. Not because I was like in love or butterflies or whatever. That's not the point. It was like I could see how meaningful this is going to be. I knew exactly, like something deep within me knew there is a potential there for spiritual advancement in this lifetime. It was a knowing that I could not ignore. So that's why I went with therapy. And it was one of the greatest blessings of my life to do therapy in London with, I was very lucky with my therapist. We were like the perfect match. And then, so we stayed together because I was getting better and better and better. Not perfect yet. Perfect, I almost got like just lately in the last few months. Perfect in the sense like, it's so much better.
So the therapy, definitely, it was like a totally different person, right? And then, it was miraculous, right? So it was like, wow, it's like a new person. So then, and then recently in our relationship, so of course there's been ups and downs, and then we kind of hit a down point. But then she started doing another meditation retreat and practice with another teacher, and then it's almost like she rose up, and then I kind of fell down, and I didn't even recognize, that she was in a higher state, right? So these are part of the delusions and our perceptions, is like we're in a relationship, but we have our own pattern and belief structure in place of what a person is like, that we don't even see that they have advanced, right? So then when the recognition came and we had a good talk about it, one night where we were like, hey, we got to talk about our relationship and figure things out. And
it was a month ago after the Tony Robbins event. Thanks, Tony. Love you.
And then she was talking about how come I wasn't there when she was going through these meditation experiences where she was in she was getting into bliss states, which she hadn't experienced before. And my mind didn't register it or process it at the time. It's like I didn't believe it, right? And I still treated her the same. So then once we had the conversation about it, then there was an instant click, because then I could, okay, so she's different. I need to, rise back up and then treat her differently. And then, so for the first time ever in our relationship, it's like we're both, kind of actually aligned. So it took 6 years.
6 years, and it only happened like a month ago
to be aligned. So all the teachings coming together, the reading the books together, and then just being more and more together, doing this YouTube channel together, connecting with all of you guys together. So it's just amazing. So we're so grateful to all of you in this community, because you guys are really, keeping us responsible, right? So I love Satguru's teachings about responsibility, right? So normally everybody's just reacting, right? We're just triggered, and it's just the ego mind that's programmed with memory and delusions, and then something happens and we just react, right? But Satguru is like, no, once you get into awareness and higher states of spirituality, then you can respond, right? So, and responsibility means that we have the ability to respond. And if you don't have awareness, then there is no ability, right? It's just reacting. So the teachings coming together, this channel, and now we have to be, responsible with this intention. It's like, if we don't raise our level of consciousness and be spiritual, and it doesn't mean letting go of everything, quote unquote, not spiritual. A lot of people are scared of spirituality because they think they got to let go of things instantaneously. And what I tell, my friends and family who are becoming more and more interested, I say, hey, don't worry. If you don't want to let go of meat, for example, or video games or alcohol or whatever it is, don't, because it's more important to take in the spiritual teachings, right? Than to be like, oh, I don't want to be spiritual because then I got to let go of my favorite things. No, right? Because the thing is that people forget that we're actually all spiritual. Everybody's spiritual. We're all spiritual, whether you call yourself spiritual or not, because spirituality, consciousness, awareness, that is the true source of our existence, not the body, not the brain, right? It's consciousness. It's the Atman, it's the soul, whatever you want to call it. That's what it is. We're all spiritual. We're all going to have another lifetime after this lifetime. And even in the other religions that believe in heaven and hell, you're going to go to one or the other for eternity. That still counts in my mind as reincarnation. If you think that you're going to go to heaven after this death because you're such a good, follower of your religion, well, isn't that reincarnation? You're reincarnating into heaven. So we're all spiritual beings, whether you believe it or not. So it's more important to get on the path than to, let go of everything that you're judging.
We got a question. Who is Mahi here? Yeah, I see. Who is more likely to get angry or irritated? It's me, very clearly. Roger raised his voice maybe twice in our lives. Like he's like, but only when I get like agitated, and then I get angry, and then I start throwing stuff around. I think 2 months ago I even threw. No. I think I Oh yeah, I punched the table. Around Christmas, we had a moment where our relationship was going through a growth. I would say, because it was really necessary. Things really collapsed, and it's like we realized that there's something wrong. We're so happy in our own bubble, but we're not happy as a couple. There's something not going well here, and we don't see it. And so we had a week of, it was really yucky. It was, it was, I was in pain, he was in pain, and anyways, why? Yeah, and then when I get angry, then there's so much energy, and then I just want to get rid of it, and then I usually punch things.
She likes and throws things.
Yeah, but there was another moment lately when I wanted to punch, and I didn't, because I thought, I'm going to be in front of a camera, and if I hurt myself, that's going to be embarrassing. Yeah. So you were like a peer group. You're holding us responsible and help us purify.
Yeah. So just to touch on the punch in the table. So when I did, yell and get angry with her, it's not because she was expressing anger.
Yeah, you never yelled.
It's because she's expressing anger in a way that could damage her body, right? She could break a finger by punching it. I'm like, and that's a hassle, right? And we gotta go to the hospital. We
never needed to.
And then especially, well, now it's okay, because now she's a Canadian immigrant. She's got her immigration permanent residency, and she's got healthcare. But before that, nothing, right? So that would have cost us money. So
money. Anyways, Anish, welcome to World Yogi.
Anish, yes, I think you're the first person who has ever joined us during a live stream. So thank you so much, and welcome to the World Yogi team. We love you. So part of your perk, of course, is priority requests. We're getting so many requests on our channel now, like it's just impossible to keep up. So now with the World Yogi member, we're doing priorities, because we're using you guys as our our members, right? Our patrons, and helping us guide the channel, what videos are good. So you guys scout out the videos and let us know the best ones to watch, and that saves us a lot of time. So welcome.
And hi, Farana. We've been to Angkor. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
Just
Angkor Wat.
Yeah, we've been there.
Yeah, Cambodia. We spent Christmas in Cambodia. It was.
I loved it.
Yeah, it's so good.
My eyes are so beautiful. Thank you. I like compliments, but also it's like, Oh, it doesn't matter.
Mosin is here, I just see.
Oh, where?
Facts Never Lies, number 2. Remember, he had a problem with his account, the brown one there. He doesn't.
No.
So Facts Never Lies. He broke his phone or something, so he had to create a new account. But he's also a world raiser, so he's a channel member, and he's one of my friends. So thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah.
So even though he doesn't have the chakra by his name, he's still a world member. And then for those of you who don't know, just so if you look at RKB's comments, he's got the red chakra by his name, and those chakras, they evolve over time as well. So some people have a green chakra already, which is the heart chakra, so they grow over time and evolve. So
let's just shout out this. Would we be interested to look into other faiths also? Well, eventually we'll cover everything. Not as in depth as Hinduism, but
so no, that's the plan. So for me and my teachings that I come across, I just know that the Vedas, the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, the teachings coming from ancient Hinduism, the Sanatana Dharma, they're the highest teachings, right? Followed by Buddhism, etc. But it's just these teachings are so incredibly high. So the intention is, of course, with this channel is eventually to raise the world, right? So we're going to learn all we can about Hinduism and then these higher teachings, and then hopefully get enough subscribers and people that are really excited about studying spirituality together. And then eventually we'll look at the other religions, together as a group, And then if we have some really, advanced spiritual Hindus from India, like all of you with us, then we can keep like a really respectful, kind, commentator section where we invite and we welcome other religions and other faiths into Raise the World Project now. And then we can see it that, oh, it's okay. And then we can kind of drop the label of religion, completely, and being like, okay, so I'm practicing spirituality, through this faith, right? Which is viable. All the religions at their core are teaching spiritual truth because they're founded and based upon the teachings of enlightened beings. So yeah, eventually we'll get there. But yeah, Hinduism, we're just loving it. And I love Sabine's excitement to it as well, because I've heard her say recently that she's just falling in love with Hinduism, right? The deities, Shiva, the little Krishna episodes, and it's just so beautiful and so diverse and so, wonderful that there's so many expressions. Yeah.
I keep tapping Roger on the leg. We have to move on here. Yeah, I wanted to shout out Mathematik. It's my sister.
Mathematik.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I have to read out her comment now, and I try not to cry. Oh no, you read it out.
Okay, I'll read it. Thank you for being so open about your relationship. The world needs more real couples like you. Aw, thank you so much, Susanna. And then for those who don't know, yes, Susanna is Sabina's younger sister, 2 years younger.
1.5, yeah.
1.5. And she just she just blew past 100,000 subscribers with
almost
her channel.
200,000 with a math channel.
And it's fantastic seeing her growth. She's a huge inspiration for us, right? And then her other channel is Moon Sun, right? So they also have
over 100,000
a rock band. So she's got two silver play buttons, right?
Yes. And we're gonna get the third one.
Yeah. And then her and her boyfriend Thomas, they're like our coaches. They're our YouTube coaches, and they give us so much advice and let us know how to do it, how to grow. So so grateful and thankful.
Thank you.
Helping us with the audio when we were first getting going. So yeah.
Okay, let's quickly see. Jram just returned from his duty. I hope you had enjoyed your duty. We all have our duties to fulfill in this life. What's up, guys? That's fact. I have to get used to the brown now.
What's up, my son? Thanks for being here, my man.
Yes, we Shiva living death. Absolutely. What is anxiety? Abhijit. What is anxiety? Yeah, Well, I don't think we're qualified to define it, but from our experience,
yeah, for me it's just a nervousness, right? Like a stress, like it's kind of like the mind worrying about the future, worrying about what's going to happen next, and being in a state of fear, right? So it's based from fear, right? And it's just a constant negative energy in the system, right? Just feeling anxious, like, right? So
your whole body is tingling, and not in a positive way. It's what they say in trauma, it's a constant state of fight or flight. You're in a constant state of checking your environment, being outside, checking that everything is safe, and feeling like on alert all the time, but not awareness alert, but alert that you have to take care of yourself, you have to control everything, you have to see that everything is in place, and it's the opposite of relaxation. So when I was in that, it was due to trauma. So as the childhood trauma is very classic. Most of us have them, if not all. When something as a child is so overwhelming that you can't comprehend it or deal with it in that moment as a child, and then you just lock it into your system, and it's in your system, it's in your body memory, and it will come up again and again if the situations later in life remind you, unconscious, it's all unconscious, remind you of that past situation as a child. And then, so it's like, that's why it's so irrational in a way, right? Roger is like the most trustworthy person I've ever met in my life, but I was extremely jealous and extremely controlling and just so scared that he would do something or even think something that would not, I don't know, would be like not with how I see things or want things. And yeah, it's so irrational, right? Roger talking, like we were on a retreat once. He was just talking to another woman, and I was in a state of anxiety. Like my whole body, I was panicking, and it was a retreat, on Wallows retreat, beautiful retreat, but I couldn't enjoy it because we were with all these people and just Roger talking to an older woman. It's just I was gone. I was so scared, and so it's not rational.
She lost it.
Trauma is not rational, right? It just hits you, and you don't know. Especially at that time, I didn't know about trauma. Like I did, but I didn't believe in it. And so now I have this understanding, and yeah, so when you react when you explode, when you get angry or anything out of the blue, then yeah, go deep and check where this is coming from. And there are amazing tools out there, therapy like EMDR and trauma work tools that really help you process that. And so what it did with me, with my body during the therapy, it was I could observe it from the very first session after that. When Roger did the same thing as he did before, I had less of a reaction because the trauma in my body was, in my mind, was purified, was processed. And so Roger did not change, but I changed. So yeah, it was, Roger was doing the same thing, but I had less of a reaction. And especially now, since the meditation mastery, when I, had glimpses, an experiential understanding of ultimate reality, then even more. Then I can even feel like going a really deep, relaxed state, and I'm not scanning the environment anymore as I used to, because there's all this faith coming in too. Sorry, there was a lot now.
More content and peaceful.
Yeah.
I'll go up a bit. Yes. Simone has one.
Simone. What do you think about New Age spirituality?
Yeah, so we never dived into New Age spirituality so much because I was drawn to Buddhism and Hinduism, right? So the ancient old age teachings. But we don't really have anything against it as long as it's benefiting, the seeker, right? So there's many paths in many ways and many traditions, and a lot of New Age spirituality is coming from the ancient teachings, right? And then different spins on it, even if it's more aligned with like channeling and aliens or whatever the case may be. If it's benefiting the seeker, if they're able to understand consciousness and awareness, and the mind, the mental states beyond the ego, and then meditate and rest, then it can be tremendously beneficial. So me and Sabina were very firm in the fact that we don't judge anybody else's path, because what does that do, right? So even in our comment section, some people don't like Sadhguru, some people don't like Osho, and then they comment, stay away from him, he's fake, he's that. Well, does it really matter? And who are we to judge? It's like, we don't know until we're enlightened. We're still delusional, ignorant beings. And if, say, for example, we judge Osho as fake, what does that say to all of his followers and his devotees and seekers over the years? Is that to judge them as well? If we're judging the guru, then we're judging the students. And then that just creates more separation and division, right? Because remember, as a spiritual seeker, it's the intention, right? So having a spiritual intention is going to bring into your life, the things that you need to advance spiritually, as long as it's a pure intention, right? And it's like Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says that, all devotion, if it's sincere, no matter what avenue, is all, to me. There's only one ultimate truth in reality. You can call it Krishna, you can call it Shiva, you can call it the infinite field of consciousness, you can call it the universe. It doesn't matter. So whatever teacher manifests for you in your life, if he's, pointing to that truth, then we can't judge it, right? Because it's what you attracted into your life for you. So we all have our journey, right? So New Age, great, right? Some of the New Age teachers like diving deep, infinite waters, right? So love that guy. He's doing good. He's got 2 million subscribers and he's very much New Age. And yeah, so he's helping a lot of people. So we got no problem with it.
Yeah. Sayontan Ganguly. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
He has a question. There's supposedly a Ukraine versus Russia conflict, and what is our view on the recent tensions? So just the way I read your question, you obviously might have noticed that I am personally not aware of that tension, and Roger also not, because we have one rule here. Well, we have many rules according to me, but this is one rule I introduced, and Roger's
I'm happy with it. Yeah.
He's happy with it, and that is no politics in this house, no media, no mainstream media, no alternative media, just no media. In this house. So our focus is completely 100% on spirituality and advancing, and that is the reality in the world we live in personally.
So we can't really comment because we know nothing about it. So, and every now and again, of course, there's an event that happens like in regards to where we are right now, which we need to investigate a little bit, like the trucker convoy. But that's about it, right? So certain things will enter that we need to be aware of just because we live in Canada, but that's about it. So just glancing at it and understanding that, okay, there is some tension and difficulties in the world at large, and we know that. Is it going to do the world better if we indulge in it and then bring it in and have our level of consciousness lower down into a state of fear and anxiety, in judging external events? Or is it better for us to practice spirituality and maintain a higher state of contentment, love, and peace, and sending, love and light into the world and that vibration, which is the intention of this channel. So for us, no, we're about maintaining a state of love and contentment, and forgiveness and, prayer for the world, that we can come out of these lower states, because all of the lower states that are manifesting in the world are due to human consciousness being expressed from the lower levels. So if we don't rise up and maintain a higher level, then we can't expect anybody else to do that. So that's what we're doing. That's our focus.
And there has always been conflict in this world, and there will always be conflict in this world, and it will present itself in different forms and different countries, and it's never cool, it's never good, it's never great, it's never pleasant or anything, but it's not our main focus. We send prayers, so now that we're aware of it, of course we keep Ukraine and Russia in our hearts and hope that whatever conflict there is, it may be resolved sooner than later.
And then from a place of compassion and understanding and just seeing, why is something like that manifesting? And it's very, very clear that it's lower levels, right? Pride, greed, whatever it is, right? So hate, anger, these are how they manifest in the world. So from a state of compassion, okay, so it's ignorance, right? People don't understand that we're spiritual and we're all one in reality. And then it gets expressed in various negative ways. So as spiritual people, we need to, love, everyone and just be compassionate. So that's our job.
Seek with Seeker, we need gold in relationships. Is this a very important thing?
Absolutely, right? So you need an intention, right? An intention is just, a goal. It's like, what's our intention for this lifetime? And for me and Sabina, we're holding the intention of enlightenment, right? And also we came across the teachings on our journey that, it's not just for people becoming monks and going into a cave or a monastery and meditating their life away to seek enlightenment. It needs to be done in relationships, in the world, in life in general. So that's why we committed to do that in this lifetime. And we're holding enlightenment, in mind. and practicing. So you can't stop. You got to read books. You got to practice sadhana, right? Meditate, contemplate, purify the mind, analyze the mind, and and contemplate and get to the root and advance spiritually. Yeah. So you got to have a goal. Totally.
Yeah. And keep growing together, because that's one thing we remember, or that we really understood again during the Tony Robbins event we did lately. Relationships die when they stop growing together, like when the couple stops growing together. And that's what happened to us. We stopped growing together. He was growing on his own and I was growing on my own, but we were not growing together. And so having one goal in mind, one intention, and it's very it's it. Otherwise, I don't know, I just wouldn't be able to commit to a relationship if Roger wouldn't be on the same page than I am. To be honest, it would take away too much energy.
So it's part of the alignment, right? So you have a goal and intention, together, and that's the foundation and the bedrock of the relationship. And then if you hold that as sacred and central, then it becomes easier to deal with obstacles and overcome difficulties. So
Sayontan, very sweet, thank you. So he just replied to replied to our our view. So support your view. Love from Ramakrishna's Bengal. Oh wow. Ramakrishna.
Nice.
We just watched a documentary and we'll publish it on Ramakrishna Jayanti. And we want to come. We want to visit. So we'll see you there one day.
Yeah, the Balur Mat. Yeah, the temple. So stay tuned for that video. We love it. That temple is so beautiful.
Yeah. And of course, we're going to go to Vrindavan one day. Anjali?
Hey? Oh, yes. On the list. The list is getting large.
Yeah. Okay. Any more relationship questions? We're going to try and focus on that for today. Yeah, the mirror analogy. Anand just wrote it. The mirror, it is so perfect in its job as any others, something like what any normal person should hope for themselves to be perfect. So what does a mirror does perfectly, copying others. And that's one thing, right? Everything is a mirror, everything is reflecting yourself. So and whatever you see is just you talk, please.
Well, so I'm really seeing it, prominent since we kind of had these latest breakthroughs in our relationship. Whereas now I find it way easier when Sabina starts falling into a lower state, because now I know, since we had that discussion that we talked about earlier, where now I can see that, she has advanced and she has progressed and she is capable of a higher level of consciousness and maintaining it. So now when she drops, it's way easier to correct her. So we got into the habit of when she would drop, I would drop. And then we would butt heads, and then we would be miserable for a few days, right?
3 days usually. Roger takes 3 days to get out of a lower state. It takes me an hour, no problem, or a day maximum, very rarely. But I can flip-flop. It's like, I'm grumpy now, but then next moment I'm happy again. And Roger, when he was poopy, and that was the worst part about being grumpy, I knew exactly, when I get grumpy now, Roger gets grumpy too, and it will last for 3 days. And Roger would just sit on his bed and do nothing. He would be paralyzed. And I think it's trauma, to be honest. He would just be in bed, paralyzed for 3 days. And
so in my defense, tough. Yes, I am indulging in those lower states, but I'm also indulging from a space of awareness, right? So I know that the ego is dropping into these negative states, but I'm aware of it the whole time. And then so I'm practicing the letting go, because there is stuff that obviously needs to be worked at. But now what's easier is now I just maintain my high level, and then I get her to snap out of hers. I'm like, hey, that's not who you are, Sabina, like snap out of it.
Yeah.
And then do something, make a move, right? So Tony Robbins' teachings were great. So
Yeah.
the first step to maintaining a peak state or a higher level of consciousness is physiology, right? Posture and the body, right? So
Yeah.
because it's really hard to like be angry and depressed if you're like being like, yeah, whew, party, doing
A
a
hero
dance.
move.
Yeah, I'm the best, right?
Hero
You just,
posture.
even if you don't feel it, but just making those moves, you know, can snap you out of the lower states. So,
and then you can look at the suffering, you know, and where it comes from and go deep on that later.
Yeah.
So this is not just to distract you, it's to get you into the state again and then look at, you know, your suffering from a different place and without indulging in it. And yeah, actually last night it happened. I got, we got a message from a friend, and it was like this yucky feeling came up, and it was like, and it really dragged me down. And then Roger was so supportive, and I'm so proud of him. The last few weeks was so beautiful. It was like so beautiful. And so he just stands in front of me and really is there for me, right? He sees I'm dropping in my energy, and then he's there. And he reminds me, Sabine, this is not you. You know, make a move or do something, get up. And yeah, because what we also, when we're in low state, we often forget what to do, right? And it's like, oh yeah, wait a second, this is not me. This is not my higher self. This is not the person that I want to be in every situation. And just having the reminder, and as a couple, if you work like this together, it's beautiful because it can speed up things, right? If I would be on my own being poopy, then I would take much longer than when Roger comes. Sabine, look at it, it's not you. And then I thought, oh, that's true. And so I was on the couch like this, like, I feel yucky. I'm being left alone here. Anyways, and then I thought, oh, that's so true. And then I just changed my posture, and it's like, yeah, I'm not this this being, this judgmental or this negative being. And then I was able to rise out of it like a phoenix out of the ashes. And that's what we have to do again and again and again and again and again until we are a phoenix 24/7. It feels awkward without him. Okay. Okay, where are we here? Let's see. Suraj, have you ever felt that you would find very early to the spiritual world? No. I was 21 or 20 when I came across spirituality, and Roger was like 24, so it was pretty late in life compared to some other stories that we hear, right? 3M, being like a little child and meditating and being in bliss states. But no, it came quite late for us. The Eternal Hindu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna to you too, and lots of love from Canada.
Hare Krishna, Eternal Hindu. Nice.
That's a nice name.
Love that name.
Yeah. Your reactions are priceless. Thank you. And my question is, who is your favorite deity in Hindu religion as of now?
That's awesome.
That's easy.
For me, obviously, it's Krishna.
Yeah.
When I dived into the Bhagavad Gita years ago, just blown away, right? So yeah, for me, it's all about Krishna, right? So I do believe that, yeah, Krishna is the bomb diggity, right? He's everything to me. And I love that in our relationship, Sabine has a different deity, and I think it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Tell them who yours is.
The deity I'm most connected to when I see a picture that really excites me is Shiva. Yeah. So that's that. And I think it's not Krishna, and I'm not sure if it will ever be Krishna, because I'm reflecting on that lately. As a child, we lived near a Hare Krishna place in Germany. And they, and so it was always, because in Germany most people don't understand that kind of thing, so it's always been like a sect, like a cult, like stay away, be careful. We even being told, be careful, and so it's like really imprinted in my mind. When I hear Krishna, it's like it's almost like it's still in my system, deeply rooted. And when I met Roger, and he, it's all about Krishna. He just loves Krishna, and I had to really get used to that. And it took a few years, I have to be honest. It took a few years to even not have a reaction to the word. And now I'm okay with it, and I look forward to the Bhagavad Gita soon. But yeah, what excites me is Shiva, and I do also believe it's because he's sitting in a meditation posture, and that's what I always loved about the Buddha, right? What always, whatever.
Meditating.
When I see the Buddha, it's like this beautiful being, radiance, and this composure, and Shiva is sitting in that posture too, and yet at the same time has this really muscular, attractive body. Is like, wow, like combining that. And then you also see him dance and everything, which I love too, dancing. And it's like there's everything in Shiva. Like he's representing everything that that I love. So that's for me.
so perhaps her view will be transformed even more once we get into the Bhagavad Gita, because Sabina has not read the Bhagavad Gita yet. So we're going to react to videos on this channel of the first time of Sabina listening to it. So stay tuned for that. And I also ordered, I have about 5 versions, different translations of the Bhagavad Gita, which I'm going to start reading soon again, right? And then we'll do reviews on those books.
Yeah, we get many questions, but we try to keep this focused on relationships more, because I see other questions, but I'm gonna skip them right now. So how about Roger? Is Sabina sometimes naughty? What does that mean? well, I think we touched on that.
Yeah, dropping into the lower states and being negative. That's what I would call, naughty, like being, getting angry and judgmental and, discontent with things that are happening. Yeah. So that still happens to us. We're still ego-identified delusional beings. So it's very naughty sometimes.
Yeah, but I'm getting there, and it's beautiful. I love the journey at the moment. I really rejoice. It's been a blessing. I feel extremely blessed. The last few months have been extraordinary. So many people around the world, the last year or two have been such a pain, but personally it's it's been the greatest time of my life.
I just saw Matthias popped up. Yes, she is. Yeah, Matthias would know all about Sabina's naughty behavior. Thanks for your support, bro.
Yeah, Matthias is my friend for years, and he knows everything. We talk all the time, literally all the time.
For those of you I mentioned before, but have a look at Matthias's chakra. He's already unlocked his heart chakra. It's green, so he's been supporting us since
from the beginning,
since we had unlocked the membership feature. So thanks a lot, bro.
I opened a nice comment. When you feel joyful or feel sad, just dance. You feel comfortable, please. It's beautiful.
Like the LA Wave of Bliss song. If you guys watching right now, if you have not seen our reaction to that video, go check it out. It's so good we have to watch it twice. And then the second part, we're just dancing. Right?
Yeah, it's very sweet.
Yeah, you can't not be happy.
Yeah, when you hear that. Huh?
Yeah. So I think we're good, hey?
Yeah.
Should we answer the Jesus question, even though it's a little bit off topic? Yeah, so Jesus, to me, was a fully awakened and enlightened being, right? So sadly, his teachings were very misunderstood, by a lot of people, even today. So we're forgetting that most important things that he was teaching was love one another, right? He was teaching love one another, not convert one another, right? We got to love one another, and love your enemy means love love
that
people
love.
who aren't like you, love people who aren't identified,
Nice.
love people who don't have the same identity,
Nice.
right? Love them, don't convert them. So that's the main teaching. And he also taught that we're all the children of God. That's what he taught. He didn't teach, I am the Son of God, only me. Put me on a pedestal and worship me. No, he was teaching that we're all the children of God, and we just need to realize it, right? So that's fundamentally, and surrender unto God, right? So very much in line with what the Vedas and the Upanishads teach as well. There's only one in reality. So he was aware of non-duality and his oneness with God, and he taught that we're all one with God, as children, as creation, as the manifestation of God. So that's who Jesus is to me. And yeah, love Jesus.
Yeah, love one another. Very, very important. Also, yeah, we just heard in the Ramakrishna documentary, Vivekananda saying, right, how we worship God, but we don't worship like other human beings. But other human beings are an expression of God, of the absolute.
Mhm.
It's all originating from the one infinite source. And
Yeah.
we're all the same in that regard. We're all arising from that. And yeah, so recognizing God, the absolute, the divine, in everything, in every human being,
Yeah.
in this being, in you, in
guys.
your family, in your
Yeah.
friends, in your neighbors.
Yeah.
And
That's why we love namaste so much.
Yeah.
Because what it represents, right? The divine in me recognizes the divine in you. So whatever variation of that, right? So the pristine awareness, the consciousness, the higher self in me recognizes that in you. That's what this means to me. Namaste.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Yeah. Matthias said, show your arm, but I don't know if you want to.
Show my arm? Okay.
Are you ready? Jesus.
So yeah, Jesus.
That's it for now.
Yeah. Okay, there you go, Matthias. It's a world yogi request. I will show my arm.
We obey.
Yeah.
Show your arm. I thought, huh? And I was looking at his arms. What does he mean? It's like, oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Oh, and if you guys are wondering what the black band is for, that's because we're doing the Satguru Sadhana, getting ready for Mahashivratri. So that's part of it, the black armband.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait. Martian, he's been here for a while too. How would you rate Roger as a husband on a scale of 10?
On a scale of 1 to 10, he means.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
What?
Of course.
Yeah.
No, literally. I've been extremely lucky. This life is a huge blessing in so many ways, and meeting Roger has been incredible. I don't think I would have advanced as much as I did without him. And that is not an exaggeration, or want to please people, or want to be sweet in front of the camera. No, it's a absolute knowing. There is no doubt. The kindness he showed me in this life with my moods and my jealousy and my constant judgment and constant control issues in the past is phenomenal. It's he would deserve a gold medal for staying with me and practicing what Jesus taught again and again: forgiveness. Forgiveness. And Lama Zopa's teachings of the precious jewel, that the people who are difficult people are your most precious people, the jewels, because they help you purify, they help you practice patience, they help you forgive and really develop these virtues. So
yeah. So yeah, thank you.
RKB, thank you.
RKB.
How much of your past impressions of each other affect your relationship in current moment dynamics. Are you aware of past?
Seeping in. Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Fogging.
Can you help me?
Yeah. So he's talking about just past delusions and impressions. Yeah, and and trauma and past memory, and conditioning, right? So mental conditioning, how it still affects us. Yeah, and it still does, of course. But we're purifying that, and we've come a long way, right? In our relationship. At the beginning, it was just a nightmare, right?
Yeah.
The first month we actually spent, together was in India, and that was incredibly challenging, right? So that was when we were getting ready. We went to the Mahabodhi temple in Bodh Gaya. We spent a month there, and then we did a week in Varanasi, a week in Delhi. Super challenging. Just traveling with her back then. So and then I was really conditioned to monitor my behavior, because she would get triggered by the little things. Like I loved to give money away to beggars, to whoever needed money. And Sabina, not because of anything, of course she loves to donate and help people too, but she wanted to control all of that, right? So if I wanted to donate something, I would have to ask her permission first. And me coming from a space of like being spontaneous, if I see somebody and help, I want to just help them. And then over time, like once we were in Nepal, I knew that, okay, there's a beggar, but if I donate, it's going to trigger Sabina. So I had to let go, and I had to like donate in secret. So and then that lingered for a long time, even in Canada, like a year ago, where we'd be in a store and then they ask if you want to donate to whatever cause. Usually I would always donate, but then I'd be like, no, it's not worth fighting with Sabina about. So little things like that linger, but now we're purifying that. And now that I know Sabina's more advanced and relaxed and letting go and not so controlling. So now I can start to, express those aspects of myself freely, not worrying that she's going to get triggered. But of course, the delusions and the conditioning of the mind, that's what we need to purify as spiritual beings. And it's a constant awareness of it, seeing it arise, and that's the practice. That's the true practice. It's not just sitting and meditating, and trying to get into a space of no thoughts. That's part of it. But the real purpose of even that sort of practice is to recognize that there's an awareness there. And then if you maintain that, then you can see any delusions arising, and you're able to, let go of them, and then see that that's just what they are. They're just memory, they're karmic imprints, they're delusions, habitual tendencies, whatever you want to call them. But they're not you, because you're the awareness that is aware of them. And then it becomes easier and easier and easier to let go. So that's the practice.
For me, the whole controlling thing, and with the donation, the thing is that I was doing the same before. Like I was generous with people and giving and giving and giving. But then when I met Roger, if I wouldn't be the first one to give, then it is not allowed. So it was,
it was really delusional.
Like very weird. Like but also lately, it's like, if I don't want to do something first, if it's not my idea, then I'm against it, even though I've been thinking of that too. It's so awkward.
I used to call her, so somebody's asking, what names do I call you when I tease you? Well, one of them that comes up is opposite girl, right? I used to call her opposite girl for a long time, because I would say something or want to do something, and instantly she would want to do or say or be the opposite. And it was just so frustrating. It came to the point where I'd be like, okay, if I want Sabina to do something, I have to suggest the opposite of that, right? If I want to go somewhere, I got to be creative and say, hey, let's not go for a walk today. Let's just sit on the couch and be lazy.
And then I would jump up and say, let's go for a walk.
and the walk is really what I wanted to do.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
So opposite girl. She would just instantly want to do the opposite.
It's crazy. Yeah. Wow. I was, it's almost, I'm not recognizing myself, because I'm so much more relaxed now. It's incredible. So does that mean like seeing you through some kind of a veil?
So distorted perception, right?
So one cause due to trauma, right? You have this veil, and then but also you're so conditioned then to seeing one person, as we talked about earlier. So, we put people in the category. Roger is like this, and that. And then this is how you see Roger. And if you change, like, that's just how I see him. And that's how I saw him, like, for months, until we, reached a point where we realized that we don't have any respect for each other anymore. Tony Robbins pointed that out. He said, then people stop respecting each other. And when he said that, it hurt so much, because I realized, I stopped respecting Roger. And Roger had the same realization. I stopped respecting Sabine, because we see each other through these filters, and not how things actually are, or how we would like things to be. And that hurt. That was very uncomfortable. And then I made the decision, enough is enough. Like, enough. I'm not these lower states. I'm not this angry person. I'm not this anxiety. I'm not this poopiness. I'm not this judgmental person. I'm not this, not this, not this. I'm like this. And then just rising up like a phoenix, like make yourself, spacious, and adopt a different identity that you want to be. Like, who do you want to be? Who do you desire to be? And then you rise up to that person, and you act from that space, and eventually it will become your nature, and it will be effortless. And so
so we are committed and dedicated, so much so that to answer Simone's question.
Well,
yes.
Oh, are you married? I didn't see that. Yes.
We are married.
Yeah.
We got married in a little Buddhist center not far from here. That was part of the reason why I moved to this small town. And then the big crisis happened, and the center closed down to the public just after we got married. So we were very lucky to get married there. So we got married, Buddhist center. When was that? 2 years ago?
2 years ago, yeah. But we'll talk probably about that in July, when our 2-year anniversary is coming up. So stay tuned. We have so Martin is talking about celibacy, and is it compulsory for monks or spiritual seekers? What's your view? When I met Roger, I was actually practicing celibacy. For a long time. Not long, like.
You did it did you make it for a whole year?
No, I did 10 months, which is quite an achievement. So our relationship for the first almost year was just platonic, and because it was important for me to practice celibacy and see what that is all about. And I really enjoyed it. Even difficult times, I sat through, felt the fire in me, but just sat through, and I felt really proud. And it was great, a great experience. And I did believe that it is more beneficial. But nowadays, I don't. Nowadays, I have this view that there is no right or wrong, really. Like, we're also unique on our path, that whatever helps you advance, go for it. And we have an intimate relationship.
It's about letting go of the judgment, right? So understanding that, not to label everything as negative and sinful, right? So the act, of being intimate with another being is still very sacred and special, and loving in my mind. And it's the foundation of a loving, well, not the foundation, but it's part of a loving, harmonious relationship, because even that is, an expression of divinity. It's like, what is it for? It's for creation, right? It's part of the ongoing expression of potentiality manifesting into actuality. So we don't judge it, but from time to time, we will practice. We're practicing right now, getting ready for Mahashivratri.
We decided to celibate for 2 weeks for just for more purification and
so
alignment.
It's about understanding that there's this desire there, but it doesn't control us. We can let go of it at any time, right?
Facts never lie. Sabine, I love your honesty, and Roger, love your patience. Roger's patience is phenomenal. And Seek with the Seekers just gave you many gold medals. I think there is quite a delay going on here. But I don't know how to take care of that. Eventually, our live streams will be more fancy.
Professional.
We still have to research how to do that, and let's see. We are nearing 1.5 hours, so let's see if there's another.
Well, RKB, World Yogi.
And Sabine is touching the point there. The images we have each other. And the relationship is like between those images. Yep. We shaved because Roger's getting bald and I like it. But more in that in our video, so we're not going to touch on that right now. Yes. Are we planning on having kids? Children? We have children.
Oh yeah.
These are our children.
My little baby.
This is as far as we get to having children in this lifetime.
This is Bob.
This is Fred.
We decided very early on our journey together that we were gonna not have children, right?
Yeah.
So go of that completely, so then we can focus on our own spiritual advancement. Because in reality, we are like children, right? We're little baby, ignorant, delusional beings, and we need to, become adults in the sense of maturing spiritually, right? So that's our intention. And it wasn't right when we got so many delusions of our own to work on. Why do we want to bring a child? And then that takes our focus is the child instead of, overcoming our own obscurations and delusions. So
we don't want another Sabine, like another traumatized little creature. But no, we would, like, now at the state we're now, we would probably be pretty good parents. I wanted children when I was younger, but then when I came to spirituality, to Buddhism, and I realized their past lives, and it kind of took away all romanticism. Like, I don't see it as romantic anymore to have a baby, because it's just another consciousness reincarnating, and it's like, oh my god, who knows who you're gonna get? He might come straight from one of the hell realms into your womb, and it's like, oh my god. But no, fear was not the point, but just my commitment to enlightenment and advancement in this lifetime. So that's why, like, no, so many people have babies, and not us.
Yeah, so I do have 3 nieces and a nephew, which I'm just an uncle, right? And that was, so I love them all dearly, right? And want to be there for them as much as I can. But no, it was no children for us.
Yeah. A question from JK. Every time I hear JK now, I think I have to think of Jiddu Krishnamurti. So will the right partner come to us, or do one have to search for the right person? When to decide this is it?
Yeah, for me, when I met Sabine, it was really just about actually letting go, right? So I had this desire, from way back when, because my parents split up when I was really young, right? So I was like, what is true love, and can there be true love? So I was kind of like seeking that. And then I always end up with, the wrong people, and then heartbreak, and then on and on. So then I let go of all of that completely, but I was still open to it, right? Because I knew that the intention was still there. When I first, recognizing that, okay, well, maybe Sabine is the one. So it wasn't based out of a relationship to begin with. It was based on, it was a higher alignment first, right? And then that blossomed into this. But it was like, if you want a spiritual partner, then get a spiritual friend, right? A spiritual partner.
Fall in love with him.
And then be like, okay, let's practice spirituality together, and then see what happens. Like the first, 10 months or so, we were celibate, and then we still did a lot. Like even after we separated from Nepal, a couple months later, I flew to Europe. I met her whole family. I was there for 2 weeks, and we were celibate the whole time. We were just, spiritual friends on the path. You have to have an intention. Okay, I would like to attract somebody into my life, but you also have to declare, are you spiritual or aren't you, right? Because we can have all sorts of relationships if we're not spiritual, and, there's a difference, right? A spiritual relationship is something different. There needs to be an intention there. So really, if you're a spiritual person, then you need to be really, really clear that you need a spiritual partner. Because if they're not, thinking that you're going to change them and convert them and getting them to become spiritual, yeah, it's very, very, very difficult, right? So you need, to set an intention. Okay, I would like a spiritual partner, but part of that is being spiritual yourself. Right?
Yeah. So when did you realize that I was the one?
Well, the moment that I knew we kind of had a connection was on the rooftop of the building that we were staying in during this retreat.
Oh,
And I would always go onto the roof,
okay.
during the breaks, to contemplate, right? So I was reading and meditating and studying these teachings. And I was very much studying, during that retreat, I was studying emptiness, right? All the teachings of emptiness in Tibetan Buddhism. I read like 7 books, really, really getting into it. But anyway, Sabine was up there the one day, and I just found myself unconsciously circumambulating around her. I would just I started walking around her, right? And then that's when I'm like, okay, maybe there's a connection. And then we started talking. And then I started sitting with her at lunch, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then I would start staring at her and bugging her, right? Because we had a little conversation that
I ate too much at that time.
She was saying that she eats too much and she was worried she was getting fat. And then I said that I would help her, and because I would stare at her, right? Yeah. So then I started staring at her while she was eating, and then she was eating less, and then it turned into a joke, and it was funny, and then everything went from there. And then and then when just talking, then we decided that we both had individually the desire to go into the mountains to meditate. So then that's how it began. Yeah.
I knew that he was the one after 3 years when I made the conscious choice to stay with him instead of being happy again on my own. Yeah. Yes. So someone wants us to adopt him or her, Raul. So he wants us to adopt him.
Well,
that's so cute.
If you're one of our subscribers, then you have already been adopted. Right? You are part of our family, right? So yes.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, so all of our subscribers, all of our members, anybody connected to this channel, anybody spiritual out in the world, anybody on the path, letting go of judgments, we're all one big family, right?
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. So 1.5 hours. We're probably going to finish here. So we wish you the very best with finding the one for you. And who knows, it's also, there's always a meeting and then a separating, right? It always that's just the nature of everything. People come together and then they separate, and it doesn't have to be dramatic. If we wouldn't have left our exes, we wouldn't be together. So it was a great blessing. We hope you find a very, very spiritual partner that you can advance with in this very lifetime to heights that you didn't even dream of.
Yes. So, and as far as children, Ute, Sabina's mom, just commented 4 little piggies.
Where?
As a reminder, right? So we decided that once we have 1 million subscribers, if that ever happens, then I will allow Sabina to get a little mini pig, and then that will be our baby.
That will be our baby, and then we have plenty to deal with.
So if you want to help Sabina get a little baby,
keep being subscribed.
Keep being supportive. Stay subscribed. If you're not subscribed, subscribe, and of course, hit that like button.
Yes. Hit always the like button on our videos. We need the support.
All the videos, yeah. So the likes trigger the algorithm, and then more people can join and become world raisers.
Joseph sent a pic too.
Nice.
RKB, thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks so much for the little piggies.
Yeah.
Setting the intention for Sabina's pig. But anyways, thank you so much. This was a blast. We love talking to you guys and your questions. It just keeps it rolling. And I think we covered everything without even looking at this sheet. We covered everything on there. So thank you so much for this wonderful time. We love you all so much.
And good luck with all your delusions
Yeah.
and crushing them.
And remember, raise yourself.
Yeah. And raise the beautiful world with all its couples and people seeking enlightenment. Okay. Love you. Peace.
Peace.
Okay. And stream. Oh. What?
Yeah, you got to hit the end button.
Okay.